Thank you. Welcome this evening to the Thursday, November 20th, 2025 regular meeting of the Talawanda City School District Board of Education. Ms. Tefelsky, please call the roll.
Here. Mr. Mead.
Here. Here. Here.
Here. It is recommended that the board approve the agenda as amended. Dr. Thoreau, would you like to tell us what those amendments are?
So we added two attachments to the roll call of the meeting, which is the public participation policy and the guidelines. We added two coaches to the supplementals. We modified the assistant wrestling coach from a volunteer to a supplemental. We had a new hire document that did not go out to the public, but it was for the board members. That was corrected. And we deleted agenda item 5J, approval of the contract of the WDC group.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Ms. Tefelsky, please call the vote.
Mr. Mead.
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Otto.
Yes.
Dr. Howard.
Yes. Could everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? The flag of the United States of America. Thank you. All right, our Butler Technology and Career Development School Liaison Report, Mr. Mead.
Okay, this will be very short. Butler Tech recently had its ADM, average daily membership, is now over 4,000. That's the highest it's been in the history of Butler Tech. And then with the opening of the aviation program next year, our manufacturing center in Hamilton, and our new welding programs, we'll be adding about 250 spots for Talawanda students that are interested in those areas. That means you have an increased opportunity to get accepted into those new career areas and those new programs we're opening. And so it's always good that we can offer our students as many opportunities and options as we can. So that's my report.
Thank you. Legislative Liaison Report, Mr. Wyatt.
Yeah, just even over the last 24 hours, there have been a lot of developments. So this is unfortunately not going to be that short. But tonight I'm reporting on legislative developments in both the state and the federal level that pose unprecedented threats to the financial stability, constitutional integrity, and core mission of Ohio public schools. These interconnected attacks on public education will harm our most vulnerable students if left unchecked. The recent legislation in the last 24 hours that passed and is waiting the signature of the governor. House Bill 186, 129, we've talked about these before. 309, 335, these are property tax cuts that are specifically really targeting schools. Last night, the Ohio legislature passed 4 property tax bills that now await Governor DeWine's signature. Together, these bills represent a coordinated attack on school funding that will strip billions of dollars from Ohio public schools. House Bill 186. Again, we've talked about this several months in a row, the $20 million floor inflationary cap. This bill caps the revenue school districts on the 20 mil floor will receive from property reappraisals at the cumulative 3-year rate of inflation. Critically, it retroactively applies the cap to tax years 2023 and 2024. The legislation will cut property taxes by approximately $1.7 billion over 3 years, directly reducing local funding to public schools by the same amount. This is on top of the $1 billion cuts that we have seen over the last year during the budget. The bill includes a temporary $465 million funding guarantee for affected districts that basically gives us a year of funding, but only until they go through the next reappraisal process for that update, after which the cuts become permanent. Most alarmingly, House Bill 186 does not adjust the school funding formula to account for the revenue cap. This means districts will appear wealthier, like us, than they actually are, reducing their state funding. This phantom revenue, which has been a problem in the state before, they've tried to fix. Phantom revenue is back. It's a problem Ohio schools thought we'd solved, but now it's back. House Bill 129, emergency levies and 20 million floor calculations. The bill includes emergency and substitute levies in the 20 million floor calculation on a rolling timeline based on county reappraisal schedules. While it allows these levies to be renewed every fixed sum levies, this change will push more districts into the 20 mil floor, subjecting them to the cuts that House Bill 186 has. House Bill 309, the County Budget Commission Authority. This bill authorized county budget commissioners to reduce the amount raised by any levy from school districts. While it creates a one-year hands-off period for new levies, it gives county officials the power to override the will of the voters who approve school funding at the ballot box. House Bill 335, inside millage cap. This bill caps inside millage revenue that schools receive from property reappraisals to the cumulative rate of inflation over 3 years, further limiting districts' ability to maintain services as costs rise. The combined impacts of these bills, and Shauna will either tonight or another time go over what these for our district will actually mean, but the combined effect of House Bill 129 and House Bill 186 will result in a total revenue loss to school districts of $862.9 million, and joint vocational districts will lose another $174.4 million during tax year 25 to 27, for a total loss of over $1 billion. How these bills harm schools. 170 districts would lose at least 10% of the property tax revenue in 2027, and 8 districts would lose more than 20%. School superintendents and school boards warn this will force teacher layoffs, cut to bus routes and extracurriculars, we've seen that here, and create immediate financial crisis, forcing districts into ballots for new funding. The bill provides poorly targeted relief. Wealthy districts like Indian Hills receive tax cuts, while poor districts like East Cleveland receive nothing. And 40% of Ohioans receive no tax relief at all. So 40% of the state is not going to see any of these tax reliefs, but 100% of our districts are going to see the cuts. Another bill that passed this week was Senate Bill 34. It's the Ten Commandments as Historical Documents Bill. The Ohio State Senate passed this bill 23-10 on Wednesday, which requires public schools to display at least some documents from a list that includes 10 Commandments alongside the U.S. Constitution, Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, and other, quote, founding documents. This is going to be controversial. In Texas, a federal judge ruled that they'll have to remove these documents that they're in schools because parents have objected that it's a violation of their constitutional rights. So we'll see how that goes. Now, the Trump administration's dismantling the Department of Education got further news this week. We've talked about it in other months. But what happened this week is an acceleration of this. This week, the Department of Education announced it is transferring much of the remaining workload to other federal agencies, with 6 offices being moved to the Departments of Health and Human Services, Labor, Interior, and the State Department. The changes will effectively move billions of dollars in grant programs to other agencies, including the $18 billion Title I program for schools serving low-income communities, which will move to the Department of Labor. The administration has already cut nearly half of the Education Department staff earlier in the year. Senator Patty Murray stated that, quote, it's an outright illegal effort to continue dismantling the Department of Education, as key programs are transferred to agencies with no relevant expertise. What this means to Ohio students. The impact in Ohio will be devastating, particularly for our most vulnerable students. Massive funding loss. Ohio school districts, on average, receive about 10% of the revenue, I think ours is exactly 10%, from federal government. But in higher poverty districts and rural districts and urban districts, that could be a 20 to 25% cut, and even more. Title I funding is at risk. Ohio could lose up to $551 million in Title I federal funding, which provides critical support for economically disadvantaged students. 8 Ohio school districts serving 200,000 students would lose a combined $223 million in Title I funding alone. Special education services threatened. Ohio receives approximately $423 million in critical funds for special education. through Individuals with Disability Act, IDEA. About 16% of Ohio public school students had a disability during the 2023-24 school year. Educators and school boards worry about how this will impact service providers whose salaries are paid directly through IDEA funding. Most vulnerable kids are hit the hardest. According to Ohio Education Association president, quote, students in poverty and students with disabilities are the ones who are most at risk of losing the support they need to succeed. Reduced services. The Federal Department of Education functions are eliminated or disrupted. There would be fewer students, support staff members, and fewer wraparound services such as reading and math coaches. Expertise concern. Education experts warn that transferring programs to agencies without educational expertise will ultimately hurt student learning. This is rather unbelievable, quite frankly. The challenges at the state and federal level for public education. We talked about SNAP benefit cuts before. Just some new numbers that have come out. More than 280,000 Ohio students in 728 schools will lose access to school breakfast and lunch programs due to the federal cuts in SNAP that will raise the community eligibility provision requirements from 40% to 60% of poverty. Governor DeWine allocated $25 million in emergency food assistance, which is great, including funds for 57,000 children, though this does not even come close to replacing what the SNAP benefits offer to students. 1 in 6 Ohio children live in households experiencing hunger, and more than 1 in 3 children in food insecure households already don't qualify for school meals. Last night's passage of the 4 property tax bill represents a coordinated, multi-front assault on public education. These bills will strip over $1 billion from local school funding while simultaneously reducing state funding through phantom revenue calculations. Federal dismantling of the Department of Education threatens hundreds of millions of dollars from Title I and special education funding that our most vulnerable students depend on. Attempts to mandate religious displays in classroom, I believe, violates the constitutional separation of church and state. Its SNAP benefit cuts will leave hundreds of thousands of Ohio children hungry. Here at Talawanda, we must be vigilant. These bills now sit on Governor DeWine's desk. We must monitor these state and federal policies that impact our budget, our students, and our ability to provide the excellent education our community expects. We must be prepared to advocate loudly at both the state and federal level, and we must be ready to communicate clearly with our community about the challenges ahead. Our students deserve better than to be political pawns in an ideological battle that undermine their education, their health, and their futures. The governor has not signed these bills yet. There's still time to get a hold of the governor's office to let him know how you feel about the bills that were passed. Thanks.
Thank you. Arts and athletics. I'm not going to do athletics since we've got Mr. Richardson here this evening to do his wrap-up. A few arts shout-outs. This is concert season. First of all, a retro shout-out to Mr. Menezes. The Marshall third grade Veterans Day concert I heard it was fabulous. I really regretted that I could not go. I wound up having to go out of town, but I heard excellent reports. Coming up, we've got on December 3rd, the Kramer 5th grade concert. They don't have a time for that on their calendar that I saw. On December 4th is the Marshall 2nd grade concert at 7 o'clock. December 9th is the TMS Orchestra 6th through 8th grade orchestra concert at 7 o'clock. That's here in the PAC. On December 10th, the Talawanda High School Holiday Vocal and Instrumental Concert in here at 7 o'clock. And December 11th, the middle school and high school all choirs concert at 7 o'clock, also here. And then finally, the Talawanda High School Drama Department production of Little Women coming up next weekend after next, Friday, December 5th at 7 o'clock, and Saturday, December 6th at 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock. So mark your calendars. Student Achievement Academic Liaison Report, Mrs. King.
Okay, I've got lots of goodies today. So Dr. Cannon from Bogan sent that our staff has been working intently on strengthening instructional alignment across grade levels and ensure that every student experiences steady, well-supported growth. Teachers are engaged in peer observations, collaborative planning, and data discussions that help us understand where students are coming from and what they need next. We're proud of the progress and the collective commitment to improving student learning. From Dr. Thurr at TMS. TMS has had 168 students with a 4.0 grade point average for the first quarter. We had an additional 170 students with a 3.5 and higher. TMS also had 400 students in the first quarter that did not have any missed assignments in the first quarter. In October, we celebrated 12 students selected that were recommended for kindness awards for everything from volunteering in the cafeteria to help the custodian to assisting others in cleaning up their food explorations class stations and acts of kindness to other students throughout the building. We also celebrated our first kindness award winner for a staff member in October, our secretary, Jessica Griffith. The FCCLA report. Over the past month, our FCCLA students have stepped up in a big way to serve our school and community. FCCLA has had members help organize and staff the Talawanda blood drive, volunteering their time at registration and support tables to ensure a smooth and successful event. We also hosted the Veterans Day breakfast and assembly. Students prepared all the food, set up the gym, assisted with greeting and helping to honor the veterans and their families. Additionally, FCCLA and our FCS students helped bring the community together at Trunk or Treat, decorating trunks, handing out candy, and making the event fun and welcoming for families across the district. Our FFA report from Ms. Kendall. The main highlight was that we attended the National FFA Convention in October. This year, we are part of the National FFA Chapter Connect program, and we're one of 30 chapters across the country to participate in this program that pairs chapters together. We got to experience parts of the convention with our partner urban chapter from St. Paul, Minnesota. It was eye-opening for all of us. We had nearly 100 Talawanda FFA members and guests representing in Indianapolis this year throughout the convention. At the beginning of the month, we had 10 students compete in the District 9 Soil Judging Contest in Brown County. Congrats on a great year of learning and applying your skills. The rural team placed 9th with Abby leading the way. The urban team placed 13th with Eli as the top scorer. 10 students competed in the sub-district job interview contest on Thursday, October 23rd. This was a wonderful representation for our students in grades 8 through 12 at Talawanda. 5 students advanced to the district contest. Congrats to all participants. A report from Mr. Pettit at Kramer. So far, I have completed OTES, Ohio Teacher Evaluation System, holistic evaluations, and several walkthrough evaluations, and the results have been excellent. The highest ratings are skilled and accomplished, and all of our teachers have received one of these 2 ratings. The rating system is very rigorous, thus emphasizing the outstanding teaching that is going on at Kramer. Report from THS. Mr. Davies sent me a huge thank you to Ms. Croucher and our FCCLA students for coordinating a wonderful Veterans Day assembly. It was a meaningful ceremony that successfully honored the veterans from the THS community for their service and sacrifice. Kudos to Kamar Ellis for winning the Handshake Challenge. This achievement, part of our career college readiness courses, soft skill unit, allowed students to demonstrate essential professional and interpersonal skills that will serve them well beyond graduation. We are incredibly proud to announce that 11 of our seniors have earned the prestigious Ohio Governor's Merit Scholarship. This highly selective award recognizes the top 5% of graduating seniors across the state for their exceptional academic achievement and dedication to excellence. This year's recipients are Sadie Abbott, Caitlin Bulanda, Clara Craddock, Garrison Franks, Elias Jones, Gabriel Jones, John Larson, Justin San, Rachel Wasburn-Moses, Rory West Pauley, and Evan Zhao. Their hard work truly exemplifies the spirit of academic rigor and achievement. Congratulations. Final report is from Mrs. Jones at Marshall. Our family groups continue to shine as a powerful part of our school culture. This month's gathering focused on cheering on our Marshall Running Club, and it was inspiring to see our students encouraging our runners, offering high fives, and celebrating perseverance and teamwork. These cross-grade relationships continue to strengthen our sense of belonging and community. On November 14th, our building proudly wore blue in recognition of National Diabetes Awareness Day and in support of one of our own students. The compassion and empathy shown by our staff and students were truly heartwarming, and it served as a meaningful reminder of the power of standing together. We also wrapped up a very successful food drive for TOPS, led by our incredible K-Kids group. Thanks to the generosity of our families and the organization of our students, we collected 1,059 pounds of food. This annual effort not only supports our local community, but also teaches our students the importance of service and giving back. Our third graders delivered an awesome Veterans Day concert titled The Lights of Freedom, honoring the brave men and women who have served our country. The students performed with pride and heart, and the event was beautifully attended by families and local veterans and guest speaker, Mrs. Beth Beaton. It was a moving celebration of gratitude. In addition to these highlights, classroom instruction remained strong and staff continued to engage in meaningful professional collaboration. Our teachers are working diligently to align instruction, monitor progress, and support the academic and social emotional needs of every student. Marshall had a wonderful month, and I continue to be grateful for our students, staff, families, and community partners who make our school a joyful and supportive place to learn and grow. On behalf of Marshall, we would like to wish everyone a wonderful Thanksgiving break. And that is it.
Thank you. I would like to give a quick little shout out. I know this seems like a small thing, but I think it's a big thing, and it's that handshake challenge that Mr. Davey does with the high school students. My father taught me, and I taught my daughter, the importance of a firm, strong handshake. It's your calling card. You look someone in the eye, and it's a way of making contact and saying, you matter and I matter. And I love that you're doing that with the students, especially in a world where we have increasing concerns about students not learning about how to make strong social contact. So thank you for that small, but I think really meaningful thing. And thank you to everyone, again, all the things you mentioned, just a lot of marvelous things going on in our schools. So thank you to everyone. On to our reports. First up, we have our BCESC update with Mr. Chris Brown and Mr. Jeff Brandt.
Thank you, members of the board, Dr. Thoreau, Shauna. Good to be here. Just a couple things on behalf of the 750 employees of the ESC. We want to thank you for your continued partnership. I'm stepping away after 10 years as superintendent in January, so I want to thank you for the last 10 years, but we've been partners way before that, and we look for ways to continue that partnership. I want to introduce the person who's going to be taking my place, Mr. Jeff Brandt.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks, Chris, for the introduction. I'm not really replacing Chris. You can't replace Chris, but I am transitioning into that role after 30-plus years of K-12 public, primarily 25 of those years in the Oak Hills Local School District, various positions, high school principal, HR director, and the last 9 as superintendent. So really just honored and grateful for the opportunity to come up here in Butler County and work with a great district like Talawanda, as well as your great leadership in Ed and Shauna. And really just, again, thank you for the partnership, and I look forward to continuing that as we move forward. And I wish you and everybody in the public a happy Thanksgiving. So thank you for the opportunity to be introduced. And thank you as a board. You guys got a tough job. And really just thank you for your service to the students and families of Talawanda. And again, I look forward to hopefully seeing you guys in the future.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brown, for your service, and welcome, Mr. Brandt. And thank you to the entire staff of the BCESC. All right, our next presentation is the fall athletics update. Mr. Richardson.
Good evening. Obviously, a lot of exciting things happening this fall across athletics. We actually just wrapped them up, so going into November with fall athletics is a good thing. Started off with the picture of the turf on the field. Obviously, looks sharp. Wanted to say thanks to everybody involved in getting that done. Nothing but positive comments from youth athletes and their families in the community, all the way up to this high school student athletes and their families, coaching staffs, and just community members in general, talking about how good it looks and how well it plays for the athletes that were able to use it this fall. Starting with soccer, boys soccer, they finished with an 8-10 overall record. They were third in the SWBL with a 5-5 conference record. Beat Ross for the first time since 2018. Beat them twice this year, which was good. Very competitive group this year. Competed in a lot of games with some strong competition at times as well. I mean, there's one or two little things that go different in multiple of those games, and that easily flips to a winning overall record for the season. Girls soccer, kind of the same situation. Competed in a lot of games. You change a couple things in a few of those games, and you add a lot more into that win column. They finished with a 5-11-2 overall record, 4th in the SWBL, and 3-5-2 conference record.
Could you raise the mic a little bit? I'm in a little hard.
You hear me now?
That's better. Thank you.
Perfect. Golf. Boys golf had a 9-2 match record, several good tournament finishes, and finished 3rd in the SWBL. That is a young group, not a senior in it, so they'll all be back and should be stronger next year. Good girls golf, much more competitive this season. New players have made a lot of improvements, and looking forward to watching this team grow and continue to improve in the future. Cross country, very strong year again this year. Adriana Luking was SWBL Runner of the Year and individual champion in the SWBL. Garrison Franks was the SWBL Boys Runner of the Year and was the individual champion in the boys division. He also qualified for the state championship up in Columbus and finished 22nd, made the podium for Division II state championship. Coach Oberslake was the SWBL Coach of the Year. Abram Mills finished extremely strong as the individual district champion for OHSAA, OHSAA regional champion, and finished on the podium as 9th in the state of Ohio for Division II. The girls' team as a whole is responsible for several of those trophies out there in the trophy case as you walk out. They were SWBL champions, OHSAA district champions, OHSAA regional champions, and they finished 11th in Division II in the state of Ohio. Extremely strong year. We'll obviously miss Garrison Franks and Adrian and Abra as their seniors will be moving on to college to continue to run, but still a young group, still several athletes coming up that have been with experience now. You see the all-league image on the side, bottom right there. That's first team all SWBL, and there are 6 schools in our division, and there's 2 Bellbrook kids, and all the rest are Talawanda athletes. So, very successful season. Football, 81 student athletes, finished with a 10-2 record, hosted a first-round playoff game and beat Goshen 56-28. Coach Stuckert was the SWAC and Region 12 Coach of the Year. Ryan Warlock has the school's season and career PAT record. He finished with a 90 out of 91 career PATs and was perfect this season with 60 out of 60 attempts. Lance Cantrell rushed for over 2,500 yards and 30 touchdowns. He set the school's single-game rushing record of 423 yards week 1. Is the leading rusher in the state of Ohio and 22nd in the nation on max preps. He's the SWAC Player of the Year and Region 12 Offensive Player of the Year, and was also named to the Mr. Ohio Watch list, which was just a huge accomplishment making that list. So, great season for the football team, coaching staff, phenomenal year, and obviously we'll miss Lance in the backfield, but a lot of these student athletes are coming back, so we're looking for another couple strong years on the football field. Girls tennis, very successful season. Had an overall record of 15-7. It was 5-0 undefeated in the conference in the regular season. Then finished in the tournament with a tournament win, and were SWBL champions. Coach Silverstein was the Coach of the Year in the SWBL, and Abby Curry was the SWBL Player of the Year. So congratulations to that group. Another strong season. We'll miss Abby Curry and the rest of those seniors, but looking forward to seeing them continue to get better in the future. Volleyball, overall record of 17-8. They were SWBL runners-up with an 8-2 conference record. They were also OHSA district runners-up. They won the first 2 playoff games of the tournament, OHSA tournament, and then they lost to Tippecanoe, who went on to win the state championship. So if you're going to lose to somebody, that's the one to lose to, I guess. Abby Noga finished with 2,070 career assists, which is incredible. So congratulations to her. And we have a large group of seniors with this team, so we'll definitely miss them, and they'll be hard to replace, but there's a lot of young talent there, so they should be successful again in the future. Big thank you to everyone. Obviously, it's not just student athletes, coaches, and athletic director. It takes a lot of people to make all this stuff work, and I can't thank, marching band coaches, athletic trainers, custodial staff, the staff, game operation workers, all of them. Parent volunteers running concession stand, as well as boosters. There's a lot of things that have to be covered to make all these athletic events run, and I appreciate all their time and effort and help in doing that. Big shout out to the community and just alumni in general this fall. We've had good attendance across multiple sports, not just football with the success they had. Multiple sports had good attendance. The support, the positive energy, the atmosphere, that is all crucial to just the success and the experience for our student athletes and their family. And I just personally want to say thank you to all those alumni that came back out, as well as community members that came out and supported. See the bottom right corner of the slide, there's a group of the 91 football players from the 91 team that came back to watch the playoff game. Some of them drove hours to get here and just watch high school football. And Gary Owen fit in a Friday night football game, and a lot of other alumni reaching out, and just a lot of positive things this fall. So thank you to everybody that came out and supported, and appreciate all the positive energy.
Well, and thank you for keeping this program going, especially with the transition to a different league. And I think it's really encouraging, heartening. I know we were asking about, the competitiveness. There's more teams in this new league. Is there going to be a heightened competitiveness? And we were, wondering about that. And apparently our teams are doing great.
Yeah,
Yes,
I was
it's-
going to ask that too, how you thought it was going in the new league.
It's
With
a
the-
fantastic
with
fit.
most of the
I mean,
sports.
it's a great fit. Both divisions, the Buckeye division, which is the smaller enrollment schools, great to work with them when we have to. We all work together, work on one umbrella as the Southwestern Buckeye League. We split off into the two divisions, but the 6 schools in our side, the Southwestern division, all align really well, fit really well together, and it makes it. It's a lot of fun.
I'd like to say thanks too again for, Jake mentioned this, but a special thank you to everybody that makes these events happen. It's a lot of extra time. After a full day of work, I'm looking around at a football game and seeing teachers taking tickets and working the press box and doing all sorts of things. And parents, as you said, working the concession stand. And I know that's not easy for them, but we sure appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think, shouting out to the boosters too, the athletic boosters, and also the band boosters. I mean, the marching band had an amazing season, and also put on quite an event, a public performance at the end of their season. So thank you to all the family members, community members who are involved with both booster associations.
Yep. 100%.
Anybody else? Thank you so much, Mr. Richardson. All right, our high school update, Mr. Davey.
Yep, and I'll start by saying I think Jake is far too humble. His leadership here over the last couple of years that we've been working together is a huge part of this. He's assembled a great coaching staff and has provided so much for us, just from facility upgrades and overseeing all of that. We are not successful as an athletic program without Jake's leadership. Great connections to the community, and continues to grow those. So, Jake, I just want to publicly thank you before you run off and get some wings or whatever you're doing tonight. Thank you. There you go, of course. There is far too much for me to cover for an update. So if you want the full update on what happens at the high school, follow us on Instagram or Facebook, Talawanda HS. We have officially jumped off the X platform for all of our posting because it doesn't cross-post very well with those two things, and we're busy. So I am going to try and keep this as brief as possible. The over-under is 42 minutes. Strap in. Well, I guess before I start, though, I do want to say this, and I know it was said earlier, but you have a thankless job oftentimes, and on behalf of the nearly 130 adults that come here every day and pour themselves into our students, we appreciate you taking care of us. We appreciate you providing us with the resources we need, and we appreciate you trusting us as professionals to take care of the students. So thank you for what you do, and I know you don't hear that enough. If you've talked to me about life at the high school, you know that we always break it down to 3 things: academics and attendance. Attendance and behavior. Our graduation rate continues to grow every single year. We're at 98.6. This past year, we try to graduate, obviously, every single student and have them ready for whatever faces them upon that graduation. So our staff has been doing a great job. You're going to hear me say it a lot, right? Our certified staff, our classified staff, from top to bottom. I already referenced it, nearly 130 adults who just absolutely love on these kids every day. That's why that happens. Too many people to thank, so I'm just going to collectively continue to thank them. Stephanie Arney has already talked about our performance and our growth. I will say we do look at both of those metrics for sure, but the big difference there is your performance scores are a group of kids takes a test, and then they move on. And then another group of students take a test, and you have new performance scores. Those scores are important. We look at those. We absolutely dive into those. But the growth scores are what we really try to key in on, because that's the student comes in here, and they're expected to be here. Do they make that year's worth of growth, yes or no? And our growth scores have been out for a while. They've actually got the individual attributions out now. They just came out earlier this week. We grew, on average, every kid in all of our tested subject areas by at least 1 year, and in some of our tested subject areas by well over a year. So our growth metrics continue to be really strong here. If you remember, we've been one of the top school districts in Butler County in growth over the past couple of past couple of years. And again, that's a credit to what our teachers and our classified staff are doing every day in the classrooms. From an attendance perspective, our average daily attendance, again, going back, because you've heard these presentations in the past, when we did not have high school transportation, we actually saw an uptick in our average daily attendance, which is kind of strange. Obviously, busing is back. Our average daily attendance is held pretty consistent, so we're anywhere between 94 and 95% of our students attend on the average day. One of the things we worked with as a leadership team, we always talk about focusing on the positive here at the House of Happiness. We did not do a very good job celebrating our attendance, and so we worked with our leadership team at the end of last year and rolled it into this year. We are now giving students who have perfect attendance for the prior month a fast pass to lunch on a particular day. If you've not heard of the T-Burger, I would recommend coming on T-Burger Day. There's also been a request to actually move this to Chicken Mac and Cheese Bowl Day as well. But we have had over 200 students who have had perfect attendance in the first 2 months that we've done this, and they get a 5-minute early pass to come down to lunch. If you've been to Disney, it's kind of like a fast pass. So they get to come down and get their lunch 5 minutes ahead of their classmates as a celebration of their perfect attendance. And I can tell you, it is something where kids are like, I don't want to lose my perfect attendance because I want to get down there. So it's a great thing for them. It's a way to celebrate, and it's also been really appreciated by the students. We have jumped in to continue to try and improve our chronic absenteeism. When I moved into this position, we were over 30% of our students were chronically absent. For those not familiar with what that means you miss 10% of the school year, and it doesn't matter why you miss. It could be a doctor's excuse. It could be that your family decides to go on vacation. It could be any combination of things. But once you hit that 10% mark, you are chronically absent. So it's different from truancy. It's not just unexcused absences. It's any absence. Over 30% of our students were chronically absent a few years ago. The last 2 years, we've been in the 21.5% range, so we've made some really good gains there, but it held consistent. Shout out to Nicole Patton. If you don't know Nicole Patton, she is the face of the high school. When you walk in, she's the first person you see. She pours herself into making sure our student attendance data is accurately entered. It is a very, very tedious job. She does a great job with it. We're hoping that her efforts to make a couple of changes on how we're reporting some of our attendance things, along with Ryan Barter, who I've said many times he needs a new job title, like Jack of all trades. Between Nicole and Ryan Barter, they do a great job keeping up with this chronic absenteeism. A lot of it for us is really just getting the message out to our parents and guardians that we need your students here every single day. That's how they're best going to learn. So we know it's easier to go to Disney in February than it is to wait until a break or over the summer, but please come to school instead, because those things are adding up and they're impacting students' education. And then lastly, behavior. We continue to focus on the positive here. We actually track our positive behavior referrals as well as our discipline referrals. And right now we're at about 20 positive referrals for every one singular discipline referral. Again, this is our fourth year, Mr. Cole and I, fourth year, and Mrs. Hess, third year here. We are lower in tardies over the time period. We are lower in violent acts. We are lower in drug incidents. The trend is good in terms of our discipline data, and the trend is also good in our positive data. And again, our staff has a huge, huge part to do with that. And then if you know us a little bit, you know that we like to sweat the small stuff. We feel like if you sweat the small stuff, the big stuff doesn't happen. So yes, we are in the restrooms between classes, and we're out in the halls and doing those things, but that's what keeps this a safe place. I'll report quickly on cell phones. Obviously, the cell phone legislation is out. We are, jumped right in with that. Phones need to be off and away, which literally means off and away. So if we see a phone out or if we see a phone on, we address it. Just so you know what the procedure is in case you ever get asked. First time, it goes back to the student at the end of the day, and a report goes home. Second time, a parent or guardian has to come in and get it, and of course that report goes home. And then it's when they get to that third level that they get an actual discipline consequence. We've had 18 of those this year. So all things considered, it's gone pretty well for us at the high school. Anecdotally, our teachers love it. Some of our students love it. Some of our students would like to have them at lunch again. It is what it is, but we're making it work. The one thing I did want to really spend a little bit of time reporting on tonight, if you remember last year, we talked a lot about trying to get our teachers credentialed to teach college courses here at the high school instead of having our students go off campus. So I'm going to give you an update on where we're at with the Ohio Transfer 36 process. For those not familiar with OT 36, that is the 36 core block of credits that transfer to any Ohio public institution and kind of meet that liberal arts block of credits for our students. They are also transferable to many private schools. Pretty much every private school in Ohio will take it, except for Case Western. And they are also good out of state. So we've seen these credits go to Purdue, we've seen them go to Clemson, just to name a couple. I really believe that the OT 36 initiative that Kelly Stark, who's our CCP coordinator, as well as all of our teachers through their department chairs, went through, fits every single piece of the strategic plan, and here's why. But before I tell you that, I'm going to start with 3 quick stories. So, why is this so important? Kid number one. Kid number one was a sophomore, good student, enrolled in an online biology class at a local university, to remain unnamed. They knew their professor's name. They had their professor's email. They never got to see them face to face because it was online asynchronous. The student's a good student. They did all of their assignments. They turned them in on time. They continued to go through, and they realized nothing was being graded. They got 0 feedback on anything they were doing, so they started to email their professor. When can I expect to get a grade? How did I do on this? No response. Parents or guardians, as it turns out, when your student enrolls in a College Credit Plus class, FERPA applies. The university is not going to communicate with parents or guardians. They only communicate with the students, or in this case, don't communicate, because this went on for the entire semester. Finally, an email came out right before grades were due to the entire class and just said, yeah, I know you've been emailing me about grades. I will get grades submitted before the end of the semester. That was it. Grades came in, student got a B, it was their first B ever in high school, and they have no idea why. Everything was done, they thought they did really well, but they never got any feedback. So that's student number one. Student number two was a student who dipped their toe into the CCP class water when they were a junior, decided free college credits, this makes a lot of sense for me. I want to go and just take all my classes at college. And so that's what they did their senior year. And I caught up with a student just before graduation, this was a couple years ago, and I'm like, how did it go? What was your experience like? Classes were great. I loved the free credit. I absolutely wish I didn't do it because I just missed my entire senior year. Like, I'm realizing now as I go to graduation, I didn't get to walk these halls. I never had lunch with my friends. I ended up missing out on so much socially just because I wanted to get on college campus and take those classes. I wish there was another way for me to do that. Student number 3 was walking through the hallway right out here with me. This was a year or so ago as well. And I was asking him how his classes were going. I knew he had some at the high school and some at a local university. He's like, wow, they're going okay except for this marketing class. I'm like, well, what's the deal with the marketing class? He's like, I'm going to fail, and I'm going to have to pay the $460 back for the course because of it. I'm like, well, what made you take the marketing class? Like, did you have an interest in business, marketing? What was the situation? Well, no, actually, I was already on campus for one class, and I needed another one to be a full-time student, and it had open seats, and it was available. That's a horrible reason to take a class, right? No advisor provided any advising there at all. He simply went onto his system and signed up for the class, and it obviously did not go well. Those 3 brief stories are why OT 36 happening right here at the high school I think is so important. But having said that, I'm sure you want to know just what this actually looks like. So let me show you a couple charts. The first one here is where credits have been earned since the 2021 school year. So if you look at the blue credits, those bars are the credits that were earned off campus. So you can see over the last couple of years, steady increase up to over 1,000 credits being earned off campus, right? The red credits were credits that were earned on campus. We've had dual enrollment classes here for some time. We've had an English class with Miss Webb, Mr. Zimmerman's been doing some UC classes, Mr. Mills has done classes from through engineering, and then Carrie Roberts has had a greenhouse class. So we've had a handful of classes for students to take, and that's what those red bars are. A little bit of dip in 23, 24 because Mr. Mills was teaching overseas. We got him back in 24, 25. But you can see those red bars never even got over 500 credits, right? We just didn't have that many classes. We go through their credentialing process. We were able to ramp it up this year to 25, 26, where we could offer more than 30 classes. We're offering about 25 because if we don't get enough kids signing up, we obviously don't run the class, right? We're not going to run a class with just a couple of kids in it. So you can see the on-campus or credits in red bar up to nearly 1,500 credits will be earned on campus. So the total credits, which is the yellow, is going to be close to 2,000 credits that will be earned by Talawanda High School students this year. So you might think, like, what does this all cost us, right? Well, the reality is by moving them from off-campus, where it costs more to take a class, to our in-house classes, which are offered at about 1/4 the rate of the off-campus class, we're actually saving about $50,000 this year, even though we've added all of those classes in-house. So this, in my opinion, is a win for our students and families. It's a win for you guys. And it's a win for this community because we have students who are here getting instruction from their teachers. They know where to go if they're struggling. And believe me, some of these classes are quite hard. Ask anybody in the Bio 111 class with Mr. Yuva, they'll tell you. These classes are not easy. They are college classes. But they know where to find Mr. Yuva every single day. Can parents and guardians see their grades in progress book? Yes, they can because there are classes, right? So we have so many more benefits to what we're doing. So I'm really pleased with how OT 36 rollout has gone. It's been a big initiative for us, and again, the classes are tough, but the benefits far, far outweigh anything that the off-campus classes might have offered our students. Last thing I'll say, we ask ourselves this question all the time. Anytime Mrs. Hess and Mr. Cole, who absolutely do a fantastic job taking care of the family here at the high school, anytime we have a situation going on, we always ask ourselves the question, what's best for kids, right? We care about our classroom teachers, we care about our paraprofessionals, we want to know how it's going to impact them, but we also want to make sure it's best for kids. Way too much for me to talk about in terms of the stuff that's going on here. Like I said, hop on Facebook or Instagram, you can see some of those things, whether it's partnering with Miami for a community-based homecoming, which we're going to be able to do again next year. We already have that date locked in. Whether it's bringing back Talawanda grads to talk to our students in that career college readiness class, which, by the way, I appreciate you thanking me for that. All I had to do was shake Kamar's hand. It was our teachers of our career college readiness course who are teaching those kids those soft skills. They deserve the credit. That was their idea, and it was a great one. Our mock trial continues to be successful. We already talked about what Jake and the athletic department's doing. There's just so much happening here, and it's happening because we take that focus of what's best for kids and we try and live it out every single day. So with that, on behalf of the THS family, again, I want to say thank you, and we are happy to answer any questions.
I have just one question. You said the chronic absenteeism 10% threshold. Is that 10% of hours, instructional hours, or 10% of days?
It's down to the minute.
Down to the minute. Wow.
That's how attendance is calculated now. And of course, in their wisdom, the state decided to pass some legislation that was enacted, of course, on September 30th, because there's no better time to change what you're doing than a month and a half into the school year. However, we knew it was coming. Nicole Patton, Ryan Barter, A+, they were on top of it. We were ready to roll.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And excellent work on the CCP stuff. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I had a question. So with the in-house college, courses that you're teaching, has that lowered the amount of AP classes then, or have those remained?
So in
Same
some
amount of
content areas, we've kept AP classes. In other content areas, we've shifted from the AP to
Yeah,
the CCP.
okay.
AP Biology is an example of that. So instead of AP Biology, we have Bio 131, but we still offer AP Lang, AP Lit. So there are AP Chem is still one as well. There are a handful that we've kept. A variety of reasons for doing that. Different kids trying to hit different pathways. So we're trying to check as many boxes as we can, but again, we only have so many Jeff Yuvas, right?
I want to jump in because with the CCP, students are able to take the AP test.
Oh, yes,
as
definitely.
well. And if they pass that AP test with a score of 3 or higher, it counts as that as well. And certain colleges are looking for that AP score. However, almost all Ohio schools will take a CCP course. So as long as you have passed that CCP course, you meet that requisite. So that's important to note as well. Because if you just take an AP course, hear me on this, and you pass the course, but you score a 1 or a 2, that may not count for the college. Whereas if you take a CCP course, pass it, It automatically counts for almost all Ohio schools. And then you take the AP and you pass the AP with the 3 or higher, that will count in the other schools.
Yep. And I go back to that example of the student in the marketing class, and I almost said his name. OT 36, that block of credits, even if a student walks out of here with just 18 of those 36 credits, those 18 will still transfer, right?
Yes.
We're trying to put kids on that pathway if they're interested in taking that many. We'll have students, we had some last year who graduated with their associate's degree. We'll have that again this year. I mean, so there are students earning 60 plus credits by the time they graduate as well. So you have students all over the place. But one of the things that's been really good for us partnering with Cincinnati State, go back to that advisement piece. We have a Cincinnati State advisor here every Thursday who is available to meet with students. So they have provided that resource to us. They're here, like I said, every Thursday morning for about 4 hours, checking in with kids, making sure they're registered for classes, making sure they're taking the right classes, that things are going to count. And they're also helping them, hey, I took this AP class, I took this class at Miami, I've taken this class at UC, how does that all fit into my pathway too? So there's just a lot of really good things that have happened. And again, Kelly Stark, our school counseling team, it's unbelievable the amount of mandates that have come down to what they have to do, but they've continued to do a really good job managing all of the CCP.
I also
work as
want
well.
to jump in. Our staff, your staff, is doing an amazing job with the CCP courses as well as AP courses and other courses. But what has happened too is now we have consistency in teachers. Whereas before, whatever university, whether it's online or going to, it may change semester by semester in what teacher you have. It may also change just by the course that you're having, there could be 2 courses and 2 different teachers, and the expectations are different for that. You alluded to that a little bit in there. I will also say that our staff is very strong with their high expectations and the consistency that goes on. So that is why I think we will see many more students passing an AP test with a 3 or higher taking a CCP class because of our strong expectations. That does not always occur with a changing faculty that's teaching the classes.
Sure. And we've actually already seen that. Math 251, Calc 1 transitioned from AP Calc to Math 251 a couple of years ago, and the students, obviously have that option to take the AP exam and have done very, very well. They've had some of the highest Calc 1 AP scores that we've had in a long time. So we've seen that come to light.
I also would like to thank you about the fast pass idea. I think that's great because I've talked to a lot of families over the last few months and students also. The one reoccurring thing I've heard a lot that was a little bit of concern was lunchtime, the change that was made. I mean, that was like every student, literally, I think I spoke with, mentioned that, as well as some parents. So I think the fact that it's an incentive that they get a little bit extra lunchtime is probably the exact incentive that would motivate them to do that.
Yep. Other questions?
I want to say thank you for your leadership. And the 3, Brittany, Hess, West Cole, you're a great team. You're making great strides. Your staff, classified, certified, all staff are working together. You're doing an amazing job. So keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, public participation. Just quick reminders, 3 minutes each, 30 minutes total. Please address the board as an entity, not individuals. And anyone wishing to address the business of the district, you're certainly welcome to do so. And it is our turn to listen to you. We do appreciate your participation and your input. First up, we have Scotty King.
Scotty King, Dartown, Ohio. I'm a taxpayer in this district, a parent, and a concerned citizen who believes deeply in transparency, accountability in our public schools. On October 31st, 2025, I submitted a straightforward public request under Ohio law for hallway surveillance footage from Talawanda High School on the evening of October 9th, 2025. footage showing specific board members and staff, Pat Mead, Matt Wyatt, Beck Howard, Ed Throw, and Holly Hansel. Same request as the Oxford Free Press, but just different people. Initially, the district told me the video no longer existed. It had been automatically overridden after 14 days per your retention policy. But when I followed up, pointing out that the portions of this exact footage had been apparently been retained, edited, and shared, or described with the local media, including portions of the Oxford Free Press, the story changed. Suddenly, the district admitted to a version of the video still exists, but it doesn't include any of the people from my original request. So it wasn't provided. I was told to modify my request if I wanted it. Let that sink in for a few minutes. Now, the same footage from the same cameras on the same night, parts are kept and shared selectively with reporters, but when a taxpayer asked for it, we were told it was destroyed until we pushed, and then it was withheld because the district gets to decide who faces make it relevant. This is just improper. It's a clear violation of Ohio Public Records Act. Public records belong to us, not just favored media outlets. If a segment exists and was used for public communication, the entire responsive record must be produced, with redactions if needed, not hidden behind games of modify your request. As a taxpayer who funds every camera, every salary, every decision in this district, I deserve the same access as any reporter. Selective disclosure will deny citizens. Deny citizens. It's not transparency, and it's favoritism. And it raises serious questions about this board's moral compass. Why retain and share parts with the press, but obstruct a member of the public? What is on the footage that you're so determined to keep from taxpayer eyes? Ohio law is clear. Public records promote trust. Hiding behind technicalities erodes it. I demand immediate production of all existing footage from that evening, unedited as required by law, along with a full explanation of what was retained, what was shared, and why citizens are treated differently than the media.
15 seconds.
Our kids deserve leaders who have moral integrity, not obstructionists. Thank you for your time.
Next up is Kelvin Corbin.
Kelvin Corbin, Oxford. As we approach Thanksgiving and the holiday season, I want to take some time to thank some of those in our district that are pouring their hearts and their time into our children. I'm not going to be able to get account for everyone, but I do want to hope to practice some gratitude to those who don't hear it enough. In particular, I want to give a shout out to thank teachers that have educated and enriched my children this year. Mrs. Zimmerman, Ms. Fuller, Mrs. Reedy, Mrs. Morris, Mrs. Bowling, Mr. Gonzalez, Mrs. Jackson, Mrs. Mrs. Murray, Mrs. Bowers, Mr. Birch, not to mention the administrators, office staff, custodians, cafeteria staff, PTA volunteers, and others who make this possible. My children love their time here. They love their studies, they love their schools, they love their classes, and them and their peers receive a stellar education. And I know it doesn't just happen out of the blue. It's through the intentional effort and sacrifices made by many. And again, I know I already said this, but even though you don't hear this enough, to those that are enriching our kids, you are seen and you are appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Dittman.
Mike Dittman, Hanover Township. Good evening, everyone. First, I want to congratulate Mr. Mead and Mr. Wyatt for further dividing the Talawanda community with their negative and nasty campaigns. And also, based on my information, they were assisted by the Talawanda administration. So I think that's all wrong, and it just doesn't set well with the community. Also, Talawanda is still #1 in spending per pupil. Similar districts in this county. We were told in the past that elementary banding would save $400,000 to $500,000. Why hasn't this been implemented? We're all worried about costs. We have one that's going to be a big savings, but we apparently don't want to do it. I'd like to know why. Other than that, I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving holiday, and thank you.
Thank you. Ann Dittman.
Annie Dittman, Hanover Township. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I hope my message is received well. Thank you for the presentations tonight. They were very good, very interesting. But I want to speak to you about safety. Why the concern about safety after the last board meeting? Why, what I feel, were there targeted attacks against 3 men? I point to you to the board recording of September 15th, 2022, 47 minutes in. And I'll repeat that. September 15th, 2022, 47 minutes in. I spoke about safety and how the building was wide open during the board meetings. It's my understanding that little to nothing was done. Yet after the last board meeting, some of you were flabbergasted that members of the public were in the hallways. Now I point you to the board recording of February 8th, 2024. Again, that's February 8th, 2024, 1 hour and 9 minutes in. Again, I spoke about safety and how I hoped it was a priority. So board, to you I say, let's get serious. If you don't want people in the hallways and you want children and others to feel safe, do something. I'm only a 67-year-old silver-haired lady, and if you wish, you can ignore me. But I promise you, I'll be back to remind you of safety. And also, please, don't run your campaigns saying that others are bad when you and prior boards allow lax security, in my opinion. About pictures being taken. I wanted to notify you that I took one. Yes, March 20th, 2025, after a board meeting. But gosh, I don't think anybody from the admin alerted the Oxford Free Press about me. Why did I take it? Because my husband and I pointed out to Mr. Hubbard how the water fountain and the bottle filler right out here are both plugged into a power strip. And that power strip is plugged in underneath the water sources. It might be a possible code violation. I don't know. I took the picture for posterity. Yes, it's still there. I checked tonight. I hope for the sake of safety, it's not a code
15 seconds.
violation. I urge the board to try to work together. Stop your name calling. It doesn't look good on you at all, in my opinion. You are hired to work for all the taxpayers and all the students in your district. Again, thank you, and have a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Great, moving on to the report of the treasurer. We're going to block items, excuse me, A through J. 5A is approval of the minutes from the October meeting. 5B, approval of gifts. 5C, approval of appropriation modifications. 5D, approval of then and now over 3,000. 5E, approval of the financial report. 5F, an MOU of BCESC agreement for services provided through Union Day Therapeutic School. 5G, approval of new student activity fund for the American Asian Association. 5H, approval of an agreement with DeBray Kemple to repair Kramer's compressor and 2 fans. And 5I, approval of an agreement with Xerox ComDoc to purchase copier machines. Do I have a motion to approve items 5A through I?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion, questions?
I was just looking over the quote that was given for the 3 different options. Sorry, you probably can't hear me. For the repairs at Kramer, and I was just curious, so there's the new compressor, the condenser, and then the one option also has the capacitor, so I assume since that's not the option we're picking, we don't really need to replace that.
Expressed earlier, I said if any questions needed to be had, Bill Hubbard is on vacation and needed to be done. I am assuming that he did not need that section, which is
Yeah,
why he's
I was
not
just
highlighting it.
Yeah, I was wondering, it probably is still working
But I
then.
do not know
Okay.
the reasons why.
Gotcha.
Any other questions or discussion? Ms. Felsky, please call the vote.
Mr. Wyatt?
Yes.
Mr. Otto?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Dr. Howard?
Yes. Informational items.
Okay, so activity group that is becoming active again, and that is the debate team. We have had a debate team in the past, which is why we are not asking for board approval for this activity. It has just been inactive for the past few years. We now have a volunteer advisor and students who want to bring it back to life. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. It does not need to be voted on.
All right, thank you. Report of the superintendent. We are blocking items 6A through 6C. 6A1, acceptance of resignation of assistant principal. 6A2, acceptance of administrative contract for interim assistant principal. 6A3, acceptance of resignations of certificated licensed personnel. 6A4, acceptance of Bogan preschool teacher for retirement purposes. 6B, 1 is return, this information only, just return from unpaid leave of absence. 6B2, approval of limited employment classified staff contracts. 6B3, approval of substitute classified staff employees. And then 6C, approval of supplemental contracts. Do I have a motion to approve items 6A, 1 through 4, 6B, 2 and 3, and 6C, 1?
Do I need to request to,
If you want to
remove the
request a
one
single name
individual?
pulled out, yes.
okay, before the motion, okay, there is the one individual in the classified staff that has not passed their drug test yet, so I was going to request to have that individual separated out.
I believe that's Haley Hughes, right?
Correct.
Okay, so the motion then would be to approve item 6A, 1 through 4, item 6B, 2 and 3, absent 1 contract, and item 6C, 1. Do I have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion or questions? Ms. Felsky, please call the vote.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
No, that is not correct. It's Haley. That's
Yeah,
okay.
it was a mistake on the
That was a
list
mistake,
there.
but thank you.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Otto?
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt?
Yes.
Dr. Howard?
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve in item 6B2, a contract for Hughes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion or questions?
What's our procedure with this, Dr. Thoreau, when the drug test does come back?
So she would not start in this position until the drug test comes back.
So even if we approve her, she doesn't start until the drug test comes back?
Correct.
And if the drug test comes back,
Negative, for instance, she would not,
if it
even
comes
if
back
you were
with
to
the wrong
approve her, she
result?
would not,
All right.
correct,
So, okay,
correct.
all right.
Her drug test was due back today, but it didn't come in. We checked, or I didn't check, but Ruthie checked around 3 p.m.
Okay.
Any other, sorry.
So basically, her appointment is contingent upon passing the drug test.
Yeah.
I didn't hear.
Her or employment is contingent on the,
Yes, as it is noted in
Right.
the board docs.
it
is
doesn't start before.
Correct, it does
Okay.
not start before.
All right.
Any other questions? Belsky, please call the vote.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
No.
Mr. Otto?
Yes.
Dr. Howard?
Yes. All right. Informational items. No, we're having the discussion on a possible retire and rehire.
So this is just a discussion. I'm not asking for an action on this. One of the board goals was to look at possible cost savings. So this is a golden opportunity, and I just wanted to see if the board is interested in me pursuing this. I would not make any guarantees to any staff members who were retiring that we would definitely rehire that individual. But if it's a possibility, we would promote it. And if there is an individual who's retiring and we decide to hire back, we would have a procedure in place to ensure that there would be a cost savings. So the great thing about it for the retired person, he or she gets to retire, collects their retirement. The great thing for the Talawanda School District, we get somebody with experience at a lower cost for that. So there's some cost savings for that. And this could apply to any position. This could apply to certified, classified, administrators, and exempt. And this is a great time to have this discussion. If we move forward, again, there's no guarantee, it would come to you in a recommendation, just as what you just did earlier, and the board could say yay or nay. We would also want to ensure that the person hiring back has good evaluation scores, skilled, accomplished, good scores that would come back, that makes a positive difference with kids. The STRS, I'm sorry for stuttering there, the STRS retirement system changed. So this is something that's important to know as well. It has been lowered to 32 years, and then teachers can go out. It has been higher, it's been 35 years, and they're going to go back to 35 years, so they say in a few more years. We don't have a core group this year. We have a couple, as you've seen on there, but within the next 2 to 3 years, we have a core group of teachers that will hit between the 32 and 35 year mark. And this may be a golden opportunity, as I said. So what I wanted to do is just have a discussion on feelings, and it does not have to be a will of the board. I can bring it forth again as a recommendation, and you can say no. I have a process that's already kind of developed, a procedure on that, on how we would pay these individuals to ensure that there would be some cost savings measures with that. And I've already checked with our attorney to make sure that we are in compliance with not only our negotiated contracts, which we have some language in there, but also within Ohio Revised Code.
Would these be multi-year contracts?
Great question. No. I think we would do this on a year-by-year basis, because then that gives us an opportunity, if it's not working out or working out, we could make those decisions. And it's also good for the retiree, too, if he or she.
It would definitely be good to see the cost savings with benefits and pay, obviously. That would be a very good thing whenever
Yes,
that's
yes.
put together.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, this is a common practice in a lot of districts, especially where I came from. It's
Yes.
a huge net benefit for
Yes.
districts.
Yes.
Yeah, you get experienced staff at a lower rate.
And I don't want to say that that's what we're trying to do. there's
Oh,
a
but
cost
it
savings,
makes sense.
But it makes sense also for the person who's retiring for that to start collecting it, because he or she then collects a salary on top of that, which he or she most likely would be making more money than he or she would be if they continued to work a year, 2 or 3 years.
I think it's also, we need to remember, because I've heard people say, well, that's just,
Double dipping.
double dipping or making a lot of money. My understanding and experience has been that oftentimes teachers, when they retire, are taking second jobs anyway, whether it's in the same field or another field. So they're still working, and they're entitled to their retirement.
I also want to say, we have certain areas, special ed teachers, intervention specialists. We have different math teachers. I'm going to say like calculus, physics teachers, science, that are very difficult to fill, right? So this could give us some ability to keep. We also know there are less teachers graduating from colleges. And we see that with our open psychologists. It's a great example. It's been 2 years and we can't find somebody to fill that position. So this may help us, it may not, for filling positions. So what I've heard, if you're okay with me just
Yes.
wrapping, I'm hearing that I need to go forward, look at a process and procedure, which I told you is already, and then, of course, not make promises, but offer this, and the board would make the final decision, as it always does at a board meeting, because there are some benefits here for both sides. Thank you.
So you're going to collect information, including the financial benefits, what this looks like, and then we would have to approve,
No.
give you the go-ahead, or?
No,
I'm not.
no. I would put a recommendation, Ed Thoreau, first, he's going to retire, right? Ed Thoreau's retired, you approved your retirement. And maybe in that board meeting or another board meeting, rehiring of Ed Thoreau at step 0 or
Okay.
step 1.
So you don't need our permission to pursue this?
No, but as was stated here, there are some districts that are absolutely opposed to a retire-rehire, and I didn't want to go down that pathway if that was it. And I'm not hearing that from here. I'm hearing that you're interested, and we'll see what that looks like. You still will have the final decision, as you always do as a board, when the recommendation is brought forward.
So the recommendation for the hire?
Yes.
Not to do the whole procedure of
Correct.
the hire, rehire?
Yes, I want to make sure that that's clear. Yes. So this discussion today just gives me the foundation to go forward. Like I said, looking at the processes and procedures, I've already checked with the attorney. I think we're in good shape with that. And to ensure there is a cost savings for that, not a cost expenditure, meaning we're paying more.
Is there a certain level that you'd set for them coming back at whatever step?
Yep.
All right.
Yep, in my mind, but I'm not there yet. If you have 0 to 10 years of experience, or on 0 to 10 years of the steps, you would come back for teachers like at a step 0. At 11 through 20, you'd come back at step 2, 21 plus, step 3. So there's some little incentives to that. It doesn't quite work out that way for classified because of the different steps that they have, but I have a process for that as well. Administrators, it doesn't work out because we don't have steps that way, but we would look at like a percentage of the base salaries and the compensation package reduction on that so that there is a cost savings.
And then would they be able to participate in unions then?
In here.
Would they be able to participate in the teacher union? Is that a?
So they would fall under not just the teachers union, but they could also fall under the classified union. Absolutely, they could be covered if they join.
Right, correct.
Yes, but they also are covered under the collective bargaining. I also want to tell you that in our collective bargaining for teachers in particular, we already have some language about practices for retire, rehire, which will be followed as well. Yes.
Thank you, Ed.
Yes.
And aren't there procedures you have to follow about giving the public notice so many days beforehand when they're retired and allow the public to have input about the rehire?
I have not heard of that, but I will double check that.
Yeah, because this has come up at Butler Tech a few
I will.
times where all of a sudden there's a meeting where anybody who wants to discuss the rehiring of John Graff, since we accepted his retirement, and nobody shows up to talk about it, but it seems there's some procedure.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. I don't mean
Okay.
that it's not there, but I will check
I think-
into it.
And it might just be if they're in the STRS system.
I think it's, if you're an administrator, if you're a superintendent, if you're a treasurer, you have to have a hearing, but I'm unclear if it's for teachers, but we'll look.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just don't have it
Okay.
in classified. We'll look at that as well.
All right.
We'll figure that out.
Right.
Thank you, I
Okay.
appreciate that.
I'm going to just clarify, when you were doing your experience, that was Talawanda experience, so 0 to 10 years of Talawanda experience.
On the steps,
Yes,
steps.
yes.
So I don't want to say, I'm saying experience, and that's the wrong terminology.
No,
We should
I-
say steps.
Yeah,
So
it-
if you're on Talawanda step 8, I'm going to say, and you can retire, that's most likely somebody that we have hired in from another school district that has all the other experience in STRS for somewhere else. So what we don't want is to say that that retiree comes back and we hire that retiree at step 8 or 9 because we lose money, right? So that's why I was giving that range of 0 to 10. It would be 1 to 10, not 0. 1 to 10 would be at step 0. Yes. And I will work this process out. Now, there could be some exceptions. If we have an intervention specialist or a science, or I don't know, calculus, some that we can't fill or something like that, that may be another discussion to get somebody to fill that position. But again, you would have the ability to say no, or you would have the ability to say yes. Any other questions for me on that? Thank you. Sorry, I logged out, so it's going to take me a minute to get back in. Informational items, really quick. I am going to have to look at, so for the informational items, tomorrow is the last day for students and staff. Have a very happy Thanksgiving break. We have some staff members that are working next week. Some of them will be working from home. No, that's the December one. Or is it this one, Shauna? Correct me.
As far as the IT,
Yeah, was that December?
That's December.
Okay, so we will have staff working. Some of them will be taking the 250, 265 type contracts. Some of them will be taking their vacation time. So it'll be by appointment only. We have notices on our doors already. Again, if you need to contact us, you can call and leave a message. Again, by appointments, you can make appointments tomorrow. The weather has changed. I keep saying this. Please make sure that plans are in place for late arrival, early dismissals, and cancellations. Make sure your children know the plans too. We had some weather that came in that was unpredicted, wasn't supposed to stick except for grassy, and then we had some issues with it. Luckily, nothing bad with it, but we know it's coming, and I'm hearing that when we come back on December 1st, we're going to be in a polar vortex, and like the highs are going to be in the 30s, so who knows what that means. So snow may be on the way. So those people who want those snow days, continue to flush your ice cubes, wear pajamas inside out, whatever thing that you need to do to make it happen. December 19th is the last day for student and staff day for winter break. It's also the end of first semester, which is really important as well because we will be doing end of course exams during that last week. And that's really important for our students to pass those courses because we need the graduation points. Lastly, we just got notification, our special education report card came in, and we passed all indicators, which is great news. And as Mr. Davey and his team talked about, the value-added scores have recently come out. We are digging into it. Overall, as a district, we have done well at growing students 1 year or more than 1 year. There are some areas that we still need to work, and we are digging into that work, and we will have some more work not only with our professional learning communities or in the buildings, but at our January data day. That's it for me.
you. Okay, under items from board members, we had asked Dr. Thoreau to compile cost estimates for our BCI and FBI background checks. At our last meeting, we had a pretty brief conversation with some suggestions, concerns, ideas, particularly regarding the cost of these background checks to volunteers and to new staff. So Dr. Thoreau has compiled that information here, and all of these are, again, approximates, they're estimates because they're going to change a little bit from year to year. And he's broken this down in different categories here, what it would be for just volunteers, what it would be for just new staff, adding in the STNA, CNA, and nursing, CCP, all staff. So what conversation do we want to have around this?
So if we did everything, what's the total cost?
$27,940.
Estimated. Please let me say estimated because we haven't collected data and volunteers. I've done our best to reach out and find out how many volunteers. So it could be north of this or it could be south of this. I just am not sure. But I've done a best bet of reaching out to staff to figure out how many. I will tell you there are no other school districts that I know of that are paying for volunteer or for background checks for volunteers and for new staff. We would be one of the only ones doing that. I'm going to be honest, I'm just going to jump in. I have concerns. I understand the goodwill and the good nature of this, of doing this, but my concern is when we're talking about finances and we're spending whatever it is, $27,000 or whatever it is on this, when that money could either not be spent or be spent elsewhere. But I will do, of course, the will of the board.
I kind of feel like this is an all or nothing kind of thing. I don't see how we can parse out some groups and not others.
You can break it out as far as who gets paid and who's volunteering. Get out that way.
Okay.
I mean,
we can break it out in any categories. I'm just saying in terms of.
I also want to state that depending on grants, we don't know how grants go, but I do know that working with the City of Oxford and community grants, we have looked and applied for, Holly Hansel has done that, for paying for like our CNA nursing students' background checks and stuff like that. There are those opportunities as well, and some of that is in the works. I don't have an answer.
And because some of those are students.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And some of the PTGs and some of the others could possibly pay for volunteers as well if they wanted to.
I understand the concerns. I mean, with volunteers, I know it's difficult, and we're defining volunteers very specifically, right? It's like 2 or more days a month, is that?
Correct. More than 2 times a month is the requirement for it. Yeah.
And it's not just, because we were talking about, I was asking about, for example, Pat, you and your wife drop off backpack supplies. That's not really, that you're volunteering for another organization, but you're just dropping off supplies. That would not necessarily qualify.
Correct. I mean, if you're not being with kids, if you're not being in an unsupervised, you're just dropping it off, yes, you're coming to the door and dropping stuff off or helping work. Yes, that would not count. But if you're doing office work, for instance, let's say you're coming in to volunteer and you have to walk down the hallway or go into the classrooms, or you are seeing information that could possibly be student information, while that is not directly working with a student, yes, you're going to need to do that.
I also brought up a point when Dr. Thoreau and I were talking about this, that it seems to me that each of us on the board often go into the schools, we visit schools, and we're kind of the only personnel in the district who are not required to have background checks, and I think we should do that. And in fact, I went in today and
You did, and you got
Gave 'em
background check today.
I got
Thank you.
background checked today, so I think it's something that, again, I think we should be doing it as well. It's not required to be on the ballot, it's not required to be elected, but I think it's good practice. So I would encourage everyone to consider going in, making an appointment with Ruthie, and she loves doing that, so. So, again, it doesn't sound like we're coming to any kind of clear consensus here or one way or another.
I just still feel that, especially with the volunteers, that the parents, I would hate for someone to not be able to volunteer in a classroom because something is cost prohibitive.
Well, I'm wondering if that's where we can be more robust, proactive about asking for donations, getting grants, like establishing a fund that helps to pay for volunteer background checks. I mean, we can set up a fund, right?
Yes, in fact, grants have been written to the Oxford Community Foundation just for that fact, especially
Correct.
tied around the nursing students. But Mrs. Masechko has also gone for a few grants, and we have agreed to do a trust account to hold this money. None has come in, but yes, we're more than happy to set up a trust account in order to pay for fingerprinting.
And at that, if there's trust money available, if there's money available, it can also become a more if you can, less if you can't kind of thing. Like if you can pay more than $55, I can kick in another 20,
You could do that. You could donate.
yeah, and build that fund. And that fund would be just for the volunteers and the students.
Correct.
Right.
And I'd still prefer it to be, they get reimbursed when this background check is successful.
What did you say?
I agree
They,
with you.
they get reimbursed when the background check is successful. Why pay for a background check to find out the person can't volunteer for us?
A satisfactory passing.
No,
of
I would
You mean for the
agree.
volunteers and the
Yeah,
students?
Yeah.
I would assume students are going
Right.
to pass a background
Right.
check, but, you're not saying we do that for all staff?
I would love to provide the staff with this benefit, but I think at this time with the state possibly really setting us back, that it's not the time to add a benefit, unfortunately. Till we see what happens.
I appreciate you saying that because I think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
That it would be a nice benefit, absolutely, to pay for everybody because it's an undue burden
Yeah.
on anybody for it. But I agree. I think in light of terms of finances. But again, it's up to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, nobody else does this.
Correct.
I have no idea why we would be the only one to do it, even if we were flush with money. I mean, our student lunch debt is about the same amount of money. If I was going to spend any money, it'd be eliminating the student lunch debt before paying for, applications for background checks.
Great point of view, and that's something that we just talked about in leadership team today because our lunch debt is up again, and how we are trying to conquer that because what happens turns into fees, and if the fees don't get paid, we get to 12th grade and graduation, and then we have a problem that some people have $1,000 that they have to pay.
Right.
Now, I will tell you, there are some individuals that have raised some money for some of the fees, like Abby Markham did for the computer.
Chromebooks.
Yes, the
Chromebook,
Chromebooks.
yeah,
Right.
insurance.
That's all great stuff. And we've had other community
Right.
agencies that have donated money too, because there are some people that are in need. We get that and understand that. But I agree, to me,
It's,
lunch
especially
meals-
yes, especially as if the benefit is like 40% of poverty, now it's going to be 60% of poverty. Oh my God,
Right.
more people are going to not qualify.
To
I
me,
mean, I'm
that's
sorry,
more-
going from 60 to 40. I mean, more people are not going to qualify. and
I think you
for
make a-
free and reduced lunch and
I
breakfast.
think you make a good point with that. We know, for instance, there is a breakfast group that goes on at Kramer, for instance, that we know we have students who are struggling to have good breakfast and game time and self-regulation, and they put all of those skill set together and bring kids together. So Amy Masechko and the Kramer staff do an amazing job with that. So there are things out there. I'd rather see kids being fed, because this may be the 1 or 2 meals that they get.
Again, it sounds like what I'm hearing is that at this point, we are not necessarily moving towards covering all of these costs. But we will be supporting, encouraging grant applications, fundraising, whatever, to help offset the costs for the students and the volunteers. And if they pay for their background check, Mr. Mead is suggesting when that background check, again, volunteers and students, when that check comes back clear, they get reimbursed.
Successful, right. Yes,
Yeah,
got
a
it.
successful background
Satisfactory.
check.
Yep, got
Is that
it.
what I'm hearing? Is that kind of where we are?
And I know that there was, I think maybe Pat had brought up, I can't remember honestly who it was, the risk of, like, if we were to give them their background check, that if someone used this as a way to get a free background check, but we could just say it's ours. You know, like, it's not going to be your property, it's our property, you know, as the district.
I will do
So-
my best for that. I just don't know.
If you're allowed to do that, I mean.
Yeah, I don't know, because we keep it in the employee personnel file, the background checks. So for volunteers, I haven't asked that question.
Okay.
I wonder if that
Does
would
that
have
make
to
sense?
be,
Thought
But
that
that's a
could be a way to
question to ask.
prevent that, you know, if
Yes.
that
it
was
would
an
be at the
issue.
building level.
Agreed, or maybe, we might keep it up at Ruthie's office
Got
since
it,
she's doing
okay.
it. We may.
Just, I heard what you said, background checks are not public records.
They're not public records, but do we have to give them,
If they belong to
if
the
somebody comes
individual,
and
it's gonna be
asks
tough to
for
keep
their
them from 'em.
record?
Yeah.
do
So,
we have
right,
to
the
give
person
their
who,
record?
for who it is. Yes, so yeah, we need to clarify that.
I just don't know for volunteers.
Yeah, for
That's-
volunteers, right.
I will look into that to try not to give the background.
I mean, my understanding of background checks is it goes to a specific organization
does.
for a specific purpose.
does.
So being able to, like, give it to somebody else wouldn't really work, because it's going to be on a specific letterhead or going to have a specific
Correct.
attribution to it.
You are correct about that.
But we should clear that up.
Yep.
I have 2 quick things. One is just, I'm sorry, does anybody else have anything to say about the background check?
No, but I have a quick thing, if I can go before your 2 quick things.
Let me go first this time.
Okay.
Okay. The first thing is I do want to do just a quick report out on, I was at the OSBA Capital Conference Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Had a really interesting time. Got to 3 very interesting, helpful sessions and an open session. John Quinones was the speaker at the open session on Sunday. He's got a TV show called What Would You Do? It's been around for like 17 years. He talked a lot about that, about the issue of making ethical choices. So when you see things happening, how do you respond? But he also really talked very compellingly about the importance of the influence of educators and how teachers in his life made it possible for him to pursue the career that he has had. And I think that's a really important message for us to carry out, carry with us, and again, that constant reminder that teachers are at the core of what we do, and they have so much influence and impact on our kids. The sessions that I went to, one was on civil rights guidance and investigation best practices. Second was a case law update. Third one was public records law. Those were very informative, and one of the things that I carried away from all 3 of those, and I know this is not going to be in agreement with what some people believe, but it turns out we're actually doing things pretty well. Now, it's never perfect. Mistakes can happen sometimes, but also the laws keep changing, which makes it all a moving target, and that's one of the things they kept reinforcing, but listening to these stories and listening to the information from lawyers and board members, we're actually doing pretty well on all three of those, or on our investigation best practices and on our public records requests. And then the final thing was the business meeting of the OSBA Delegate Assembly. This is when OSBA is Ohio School Boards Association. They have a legislative platform which guides their advocacy efforts representing school boards across the state. Basically, that meeting is swearing in new officers, and there weren't a lot of changes to their legislative planks this year. Most of them were simply minor informational or wording revisions. So I did enjoy doing that. I think it was very beneficial, and I certainly learned a lot. The other thing I want to do is I'm feeling like at the end of each of these meetings now, I need to just include a category that is fact-checking. And so tonight's fact-checking, which is not actually in response to comments that were made during public participation. I wrote this out before. This is in response to other things that have been happening on social media, which is where we seem to run into this fact-checking issue. So here's my fact-checking for tonight. No one from the district central office, administration, or building administration contacted the Oxford Free Press or anyone else regarding the investigation into the posting of photos of teacher nameplates on social media, other than to respond to public records requests. Statements and accusations suggesting otherwise is not true, and there is sample evidence to prove that these statements and accusations are false, and that has also been confirmed by the personnel at Oxford Free Press, that no one reached out from the district to tell them to ask for this information. I just want to make sure people understand that it is problematic for anyone, and that includes board members as well as members of the public, to persist in perpetuating falsehoods that call into question the honesty and integrity of any member of the TCSD staff. If anyone would like more information on the sequence of events around that particular weekend, please get in touch. I'll be happy to tell you this is what happened when it happened. Go ahead. I'm going to stop there.
That's all you're saying?
That's all I'm saying at this point, yes.
Okay. I was just going to make a comment about something Mr. Wyatt brought up about SNAP benefits and things changing on a federal and state level. My wife volunteers at the food pantry, and tonight they served over 100 families, which is by far a record. It is just unbelievable, the need and how it's gone up. So I would just encourage people in the community to realize there's a lot of people struggling, and if our families are struggling, their kids are struggling, and if their kids are struggling, they're going to come into school and have a harder time. So I would encourage the community to make sure we take care of one another so that our students can come in fed enough that they can attend to the business of getting educated. So any way you can help the food pantry, and I know there's other smaller food pantries around that other people do, but please remember those children who right now could use your help. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other items from board members?
I would just like to reaffirm what Becky said, what Sherman said. Churchill said that a lie gets halfway around the world before the truth has the chance to get its pants on. Heard a lot of that tonight. Conspiracy theories are fun. It's not really fun when there are lies and people's reputations, not mine at all, but administrators is at stake. Very disappointed in that, especially coming from the same folks that have all the information from the public records request to continue to peddle conspiracy theories. And also, by the way, Elvis is dead. We landed on the moon. Aliens did not create Stonehenge. All right.
Thank you. All right, our next board meeting is December 18th, right here. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Belsky, discussion, questions? Ms. Belsky, please call the vote.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Otto,
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt,
Yes.
Dr. Howard.
Yes. Thank you all. Please drive home safely and stay warm.